It is designed to break your heart. The game begins in the spring when everything else begins again. And it blossoms in the summer, filling the afternoons and evenings, and leaves you to face the fall alone. You count on it, rely on it to buffer the passage of time, to keep the memory of sunshine and high skies alive. And then, just when the days are all twilight, when you need it most, it goes, and summer is gone. Those memories are not of just another season gone by. They are the memories of a lifetime for a group of young baseball players whose year-long adventure was history in the making.
Moscow was founded in the 12th century.
Their adventure was the first ever USA-USSR baseball exchange, a non-profit effort designed to help the Soviets get to first base on their road to the 1992 Olympics. After 2 weeks in Moscow and 2 weeks here at home, these kids learned a lot about baseball and something about freedom and democracy. Armed with some newfound weapons of peace, a bat and a ball, these once feared enemies became real-life friends. They were comrades at bat. Hello, I'm Mike Schmidt. This is where our story ends, on a baseball field here at Westchester University in Pennsylvania, a field of dreams for the Americans and Soviets who played their final game here back in August. That game, like all youth baseball games, was played in 7 innings, not the usual 9 innings the major leaguers play. So our story, like their game, will be told in 7 innings, in the words of the players and coaches. It begins not here on a baseball field or even in a Russian embassy, but with a chance encounter in the office of Ted Monzalewski, an architect and head coach of the American team.
On July 26, 1988, I was in my office and I happened to be reading Sports Illustrated. In the magazine, there was an article about baseball in the Soviet Union. They had just started picking it up because it's an Olympic sport, and it mentioned an American by the name of Rick Spooner, who had just started a team in Moscow.
Please hold my calls unless Rick Spooner calls.
That same day, I heard an architect who works in my office by the name of Joe Catelli mention the name Rick Spooner. And when Rick came to the office, we immediately started to talk about baseball. And I suggested, why don't we take our team over to the Soviet Union? And Rick thought that was a great idea. And then I said, following that, the very next year, we could return the hospitality and you could come visit us. 5 months later, on December 29th, 1988, the fax came over the machine and saying, come on over. August 5th, 1989, a delegation of 14 players and 8 coaches left for Moscow, making us the very first youth baseball team ever to play in Russia.
We're on our way. This is great. Fantastic.
We boarded the bus. Everybody was happy. We were real excited. Had no idea what we were getting into. We were real excited. Everybody was all smiles, which was typical of the group. I mean, we were very, very excited to be going to a country where not many people in America have gone.
Moscow was founded in the 12th century.
The first time I just ever saw Moscow looking out of a bus window, it reminded me of a really poor place in America. Before we went to Russia, we all thought of Russians just as strange, like the soldier type kind of person that you would really be called a commie, or just really communistic, and wouldn't be anything like a American. Like if when we went over there, we'd have nothing in common with them, nothing like about them that we even knew or understood. But actually, it was much different than that.
The place we were living was like the auto factory had like apartments, and they put us up in. It wasn't that great, but it was the best they could give us, so we appreciated it.
One flight.
The food is, well, it's kind of tough to get used to. They pour grease on their food, they pour lard on their food when they're cooking it. I mean, we saw them. We saw a guy like ladling what he thought was pancakes onto a grill, but what he was doing was he was ladling lard on top of a piece of meat. And that was lunch.
Jared. Jared?
Tom.
Tom?
The first day, it was good. We introduced ourselves to each player, and after that, it seemed that we just kind of loosened up. We were just baseball players, We weren't political opposition. You know, we were just there to play baseball, and that was what we told them.
73 feet.
73? Why?
That's international rule. There are no baseball fields in the Soviet Union, so the very first thing we had to do was to measure out the field. We measured out the bases, we laid out the bases, we laid out home plate, we showed them how far away the pitcher's mound was.
We played on this thing we named it the gravel pit because it was like black gravel or dust or something, and we practiced down there, and it was pretty Spartan conditions.
So you get back, nice feet, then get your hands set.
Okay, now, runner at second base.
Our goal was to teach them how to play baseball, but another one of our goals was to supply them with equipment. They didn't really have any equipment. The Sports Illustrated article made that crystal clear.
And another 30.
The Phillies gave us 72 Major League Baseball gloves, 80 bats, 6 dozen Major League Baseballs. Kelly's Sporting Goods in Westchester donated umpires equipment, bases, tapes to measure the bases, pitching mound. DuPont Company funded all the uniforms. It was for 58 players.
At the beginning it was bad. We had only 3 gloves for our whole team.
And now?
А теперь?
А теперь у каждого есть достаточно.
Now everyone on the team has plenty of equipment.
From Fitchburg through Louisville Slugger, who donated bats for us to give to you. Yeah?
Oh, okay. Спасибо.
You're welcome.
Спасибо.
Good luck.
The one major advantage that the Russian players have over our American players is their intensity and their concentration on the game. They practice all the time. They practice every day. If it's raining, they're indoors. If it's wintertime, they're indoors. The athletes are treated very, very well. The Russian hosts wanted to really show us Moscow in its finest light. They took us everywhere. They took us to Red Square, where we went to Lenin's tomb, where we saw the changing of the guard.
We got Jared, Justin, Brian Esposito, Matt, Rich, Danny.
We played our final game just about 2 days before we were to leave. We met the head of the umpiring association in the Soviet Union, a very funny and nice gentleman by the name of Alexei Nikolov. And before the game, we tried to see if we could get a little bit of advantage and sweeten up the umpire, and we handed out, that's when we decided to hand out our Hershey bars, which was another generous donation by the Hershey people.
Well, my dream is beating the American team someday. First the amateur team at the World Champs, the Olympic Games, and then beating the pro teams, beating Dodgers at the Dodger Stadium, and we will final at Super Series.
Well, we wish you luck.
I hope I'll see that before I die.
Play ball.
Oh!
We played 4 games. We won 2 and we lost 2. The final game we won, I think 12-5. It wasn't important the outcome of the game in any way, and everybody knew that.
It's changed my idea of what I think of the Russians by going over there and seeing their culture and also seeing their people and see how nice they really are.
We had a successful trip. We achieved what we wanted to achieve. It was an adventure. It wasn't 2 weeks in Hawaii. It wasn't intended to be. It was a real adventure, and that was what we considered it. We really did what we wanted to do. We taught them a lot in a short period of time about baseball. I was looking forward to them coming back to America, and turned out they did. 1 year later, after a 14-hour flight, they landed at JFK International Airport in New York. And now is our turn to show them America.
The Soviet team stayed at Westtown School in Westtown, Pennsylvania for most of the 2 weeks. The first morning in the United States, breakfast was scheduled for 9 o'clock. We thought we would give them a chance to sleep in, but surprisingly enough, the Russian head coach, Sergei Kuchenko, had the team out running 2 miles and doing calisthenics by 7 o'clock in the morning. American players weren't nearly as disciplined.
2 дня это будет более точно.
But our purpose right now is to I want you guys to put some pressure on the defense. So I want to see how your players and my players react to base runners bearing down on bases and having to field in those kinds of situations. I want you to show me how fast you are and how smart you are running the bases. Make those guys look bad out there.
Он хочет, чтобы они очень плохо выглядят. Из-за вас.
The Soviet players are basically professional athletes. Their job is to be a baseball player. They are tutored in school, but their main activity is to practice and play baseball. If they find a player in Kiev or any outlying region of the Soviet Union that is good enough to make the team, they will relocate him to Moscow with his family, and the AZLK Auto Factory will supply the family with a job, housing, food, and all the basic needs to live by. Sergei Kuchenko, last year when we were over in the Soviet Union, knowing that he was going to come to the United States, wanted us to put together the best 16-year-old team we had. And that we did. But more important than that is he wanted us to really compete in the games. He wanted the games to be very competitive. He wanted to find out where they were in relation to a good American team. The head coach of the Moskvich team is a real student of the game. He's always taking notes. He's always taking down things to help him out.
There are some details which you forget of the training process and the coaching process, and since he's in the process of education right now, he is trying to get it as a lecture, and then he will have notes.
They were always looking at us, what we were doing. They were taking notes on us, you know? Like, what did he do on that double play? You know, how did he flip the ball? One of the Soviet kids, through the interpreter, asked me, how did you catch that fly ball, and how did you come up and throw it? What's the technique? And I kind of just went, I don't know, I just do it. I almost ended up screwing up my whole, you know, how to catch a fly ball, because I started thinking about it. So it's really kind of funny now.
Not only were the Soviets interested in learning the aspects of baseball, they were very concerned about sports conditioning. So in order for us to show them certain training techniques for baseball, we took them to the Paoli Sports Conditioning Club.
They're working off a visual stimulus, and they've got to time the jumps. And it's also a good anaerobic drill.
And then we took them to Grand Slam USA to practice hitting.
The first couple of days, everyone was a little nervous with each other, but it wasn't very long until everyone started messing around and having fun, especially when the guys moved from Westtown and stayed with their host families. Personally, I had Vladimir Dubrovsky, who was the captain of the Soviet team, and Ilya Zakharov stay with me. This was kind of strange because both of them were featured in Sports Illustrated in one picture playing shortstop. I think they were really surprised at how we live.
Of course, every person in the Soviet Union wants to come to the United States. I've always heard about America and all the rest. So when they actually do get here, they're really shocked by all the things Americans do have. In the Soviet Union, we also have private homes, but nothing on the scale that they do in America. The only way that you could compare a home here in America to a Soviet home is to a home of one of the highest leaders in the Soviet Union.
Hook. Say that? Say hook.
Just because we couldn't communicate with words didn't mean we couldn't have fun together. There really isn't that much difference between us and them. We're just all kids. It was really interesting to hear when Dubrovsky talked about his country and his customs and things like that.
In general, I'm not very excited about politics, but I think that the move to a market system would be good in the Soviet Union. Of course, the majority of people are against it because it means a sharp increase in prices, especially compared to the wages that we receive. However, I think in general it would be a really good move, and that in the future it will pay off to have a market system economy.
Welcome to our Kmart.
Kmart has everything. Which one do you want? 35 millimeter film?
This has the batteries. See, look, batteries and the case.
Can't understand it.
Да чуть-чуть подороже, но дело в том, что вот батареи вот это пацка, да?
For $3. You gonna pay for it?
No, in Moscow they don't have to worry about comparing prices and for which model's better, because if they even have any models.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this.
Besides baseball, we thought we'd show them a little bit of American nightlife.
I think a place like this is good because it gives kids something else to do besides hanging around the street. It keeps us out of trouble, more or less. Many people want to build places like this in the Soviet Union, but the government won't give us enough money to do things like that.
Boy, you can't touch this.
When they see these girls this young, looking this good, they really it just blows them away. And they were blown away, period. They didn't know what to do. They loved them, you know. They kept saying big boobs.
Russians were very nice gentlemen, and we appreciated them coming to our country. And it was very exciting seeing them, seeing how other countries react to America and how they see America and how they see how the teenagers act.
They respected you. They were just really nice. They held the door for you. Most American guys do that.
They're very good looking, a lot better looking than American guys.
It might have been the highlight of the trip for some of the Russians, seeing all these American girls. They loved the whole package of America, including the women.
I think everyone had a great time, but now it was time to get back to baseball.
To America on behalf of Philadelphia Phillies and all the people that I'm associated with. I'm looking forward to spending a few days with you guys. All right, here we go. Let's go. So I catch a ground ball and I go, see, I got it right here. Just lay it up. Grip the bat in the strongest part of your hand. This guy, every time he throws to that guy, should try to hit him right in that sign, right on his uniform.
The third day of the exchange was extremely exciting because all the American kids knew that Mike Schmidt was coming, and that was a big thing. He ran the whole practice. Everybody was just really elated that he was doing this. It was great.
Time out. Everybody listen up. Now, when you're playing catch, every time you throw the ball, grip it across the seam. See those two seams right there? The American players know what I mean when I say the sweet spot, right? Where you want the autograph on the ball. You grip it right across the sweet spot when you play catch. Never in the middle or never. Make sure you always have a seam to grab onto. That way when you throw the ball, you pull on that seam and the ball will have backspin and it won't sail or sink. Grip it across the seams all the time. All right, here we go. Let's go. Follow the throw to second base. There you go. And give him one of these. That's no. You take the ball out of your glove and show it to him. Follow what I'm saying? You take the ball out of your glove and show it to the second baseman. Like this. I catch a ground ball and I go, see, I got it right here, and just lay it up. All right? Let me see that ball. One more thing that's a no. If you catch the ball right here, and you've decided to give him an underhand toss, you don't do it like that. You do it like this. You've seen Ozzie Smith on TV, catches a ground ball, and you follow with your body to give yourself some momentum coming to second base. Good, good. How do you say good? I forget. Хорошо. Doesn't have to be too hard, atta baby. Oh, I think these players from the Soviet Union are unbelievably good for just starting. Okay, now let's tell them what we're going to do.
I can't believe it. I can't, I mean, I never, you know,
Second base, second base.
This is exciting. I'm excited for the Soviet players. They're really excited about having Mike Schmidt, you know, being a coach for them. I don't think they were going to get all this. They're really impressed.
Let's hear it, man on first.
What do you think about Mike Schmidt being here?
Что вы думаете, что Майк Шмидт с нами?
Man on first.
Ну, то, что Майк Шмидт с нами, это очень хорошо. Приятно видеть его и приятно с ним тренироваться, потому что он был в прошлом профессионалом.
It's very good that he's here with us. He acknowledges the value in having him here because he's a major leaguer.
Here we go. Go ahead. Attaboy. First base, everybody's yelling it. Okay, here we go.
You think you're learning a lot being here, like with a pro player?
То, что Майк Шмидт есть, вы учитесь много от него? Он хороший учитель, вы что-нибудь научились?
Я пока с ним занимался, но думаю, что он очень многому может научить.
Says yes, and he thinks that he can learn a lot more from Mike Schmidt.
Most kids my age would give anything to meet Mike Schmidt, so you're really lucky just being from another
Какой-нибудь
country.
американский мальчик бы дал правую руку, чтобы иметь шансы быть с Майк Шмидт.
Да, счастлив видеть профессионала.
So he's a very lucky person.
Майк Шмидт очень хорошо играл.
And Mike Schmidt's a good guy.
In front of home plate. Tell this kid I know why he's so good. Because of his number.
Он говорит, он знает, почему ты так хорошо играешь, потому что у тебя 20-ка. А у него тоже 20 номер.
Okay. All right. That's it for infield. Take a break, 10-minute rest.
Нет, не надо.
Get that new sports stuff.
He doesn't want to take a break.
All right,
Let's take it.
He doesn't want to take, he said he's going to drink something, but doesn't want to take a break.
This is America, man. So
America. Hey, he'll run them all day. All day.
no, we can't be running them too hard now. Little 5 minutes. Can we have 5 minutes? 5 minutes. He gave us 5 minutes. 5 minutes for a drink, okay?
Good job. You never так строго. This is America.
От футбола как бы отвлекаться от футбола.
What do you know about America? What excites you the most? Like Nintendo, electronic games?
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Oh, McDonald's. There you go. All I ask is that when you guys grow up, 10. How old are you? How old?
16, 17.
It'll take 10 years. Let's say 9, 10 years. When you grow up in Russia and become very famous baseball players, okay? Don't forget to mention my name. All right? Let's go get them. First thing you got to decide, no matter what country you're from, are you a singles, get-on-base type hitter, or are you a power hitter? Two kinds. When you leave here, you Soviet players, when they leave, try not to be in the middle of that, to be a guy that can't decide whether you want to be a leadoff hitter, a base stealer, an infielder, and want to hit for a high batting average, or whether some of you bigger guys want to learn the art of hitting the ball with power. My team wants to see me swing hard and swing big and hit 35 home runs. I was a strikeout artist, home run hitter when I came to the major leagues. 548 home runs in my career. I struck out 2,500 times. 2,500 times. Here, let me write that in the dirt. 2,000. 500, all right? If you strike out 2,000 times, you better hit 500 home runs. Grip the bat in the strongest part of your hand, strong part, right? Strong part, weak. Everybody get this now, this is important. When you hit, when you pitch, when you field in baseball, you have to be relaxed. Excellent, excellent, perfect. How you say perfect? Thank you.
He knows a lot about baseball, it's obvious. He should, you know? And they took a lot of notes and they really benefited from it.
Oh. You see that? That's a high pitch. Good. You swung down on it, hit a line drive base hit.
To have 5 hours with a baseball player the stature of Mike Schmidt was just a dream come true, not only for the players on the Soviet team and the American team, but for all the coaches that were there. It was just a tremendous thrill.
Yes. What do you think, Coach?
Good job. Good job. Good job.
Okay, okay. It's been my pleasure. I had a lot of fun this morning. The only problem is I had to go all the way to Russia to find somebody to listen to me.
I really couldn't believe that this day I'd met a legend. You know, he just was a regular guy to me, and it was just a great day. It was an exciting day. And I think that was a great experience for all of us.
We really wanted to return the favor that the Soviets gave us when we were in the Soviet Union. They took us everywhere, so we wanted to show them a real slice of American life.
The Soviets tried every kind of American fast food you can think of.
Milkshake.
Vanilla?
Vanilla.
Vanilla. Which one's your favorite?
Big Mac.
When we went to Washington, one of the highlights was the FBI
Good morning
building.
and welcome to FBI headquarters. The tour that you're about to take will last approximately 1 hour to an hour and 15 minutes.
The Foreign Counterintelligence is otherwise known as FCI. FCI is a collection of information gathered to protect our country from espionage, sabotage, international terrorists, and other foreign powers.
They'd never get into KGB, so just seeing FBI and seeing how it all works was really interesting to me.
Most of these were confiscated from drug dealers, some during the gangster era, and a few obtained through court orders.
I think a lot of them like the guns. I know Andre took a special interest in it. I mean, I don't think he'd ever seen that many guns in one place. For me personally, the highlight of Washington was seeing the Capitol building and meeting Congressman Dick Schultz. He was in session and he took his time out from that just to come see us.
Grow up, become 25 to 30, buzzing between Moscow and Washington will be a routine thing, and that these exchanges will not be extraordinary, but they will be ordinary.
Well, for the Russians, I think it was exciting because they had never met Gorbachev before, and they'd probably never been that close to the man. I mean, the big helicopter came in and landed, and it was real ceremonial, and I think they took a fancy to that, and seeing Bush and seeing these little relatives of his that ran over, you know, they were really impressed by that, just to see that he was a family man, whereas, you know, in Russia, I think they're more stiff than that. I like the New York day. We got on the bus and we went up to New York and we went across the Staten Island Ferry, which was nice. We sailed by the Statue of Liberty, and man, I'll tell you, those Russians flipped out when they saw it. They were amazed, you know. There it is, the Statue of Liberty, democracy and everything. And they took all kinds of pictures, and When coming into town, when they first saw the buildings, I think they were really shocked. They were just amazed.
How do you feel about it? Is this your first time here in America?
It was really great. We had a picnic in Central Park, and Domino's Pizza brought all the pizza we could gouge ourselves with. So we had a great time, and cameras were all over the place, and news reporters, and more fun. It was great. Well, we went to Hershey Park. That was a great day, perfect for an activity such as this. Hershey Park donated the tickets for us and for the Soviets, and they had a great time.
Russians and American kids even have fun the same ways. Like, a lot of them like to surf. Ilya had a little bit of fun with surfing when he went to Hershey Park.
You'd see them wearing their baggies.
They were just so happy to be in America. I think they just wanted to have a great time. That was hopefully what we showed them.
Surfing USA.
The Soviets wanted to see a Major League Baseball game. They had never seen a Major League Baseball game before. So we took them to Veteran Stadium to see the Phillies play the St. Louis Cardinals.
Since there's so many, we're going to have to take the elevator about 6 times, so, you know.
Well, first of all, Mike Schmidt generously hosted a great dinner at the vet. It was a great dinner. Super. They inhaled more fruit than anyone I'd ever seen before.
I'll see everybody Sunday at the final game, all right? Enjoy yourself.
One of the Soviet players, a friend of mine, Pasha Novichkin, he had a super extra great time because his favorite team is the Cardinals and his favorite player is Ozzie Smith. So he got to see the Cardinals and he got to see Ozzie Smith and he met a couple of the Cardinals and he just had one of the best times of his life. That's what he told me.
Мы находимся на Veteran Stadium, Philadelphia.
When it comes to getting on the camera, I think Pasha, he's not very shy about it.
Большой и красивый. Я надеюсь, что матч сегодня удастся.
А тебе, Том?
Personally, I like grass better, but that's just an opinion. I think that, well, it's not just baseball that's played here, so I guess that's why they have AstroTurf, but I'd rather play on grass, and I think baseball should be played on grass.
Okay. Я Паша Новичкин for Channel 10, Philadelphia.
Bill Giles and Larry Schenker, the Phillies, were so generous to us and have been so supportive of this program. They suggested, as well as Mike Schmidt, that we have someone from the Soviet team throw out the first ball to one of his American counterparts.
B as in boy, and his team is the Moscovich, M-O-S-K-V-I-C-H, team from the USSR.
The highlight of the night was watching Soviet pitcher Andrei Beruzin throw out the first ball of the night to Ryan Shaughnessy in front of 30,000 fans.
When I saw the look on his face and saw that he was thrilled, but he was also scared to death, and here I'm thinking this kid is only 16 years old, and not many people get that opportunity, it choked me up a little bit, and I started to get a little teary-eyed because I knew it was just something that he would never, ever forget, and neither will I.
It wasn't quite a good game for the Phillies. They lost to the Cardinals 4-1. However, Victor, the team's masseuse, had a great time. It was really great watching the Phillies, but now it was time for our final game of the series. After our team winning 3 games, the Soviets were anxious to get on the field one more time and hopefully beat us.
Play ball!
Welcome to this, our fourth and final game in our 1990 series of the USA-USSR baseball exchange. Play ball!
I was pretty nervous about the final game. I had a lot of anxiety about it because I knew that this was the last time that they would be playing here.
And he's in, standing. Stolen base for Andrei Dubrovsky. Up with that number 56, Alexei Bakutkin, another left-handed batter. And he sends one up the middle. It might, nope, the shortstop is there, and he makes the play, and that will end the inning. Jeff Coppolino in position to make the play, steps on second for the force, and that will retire the side. No runs, one hit, two left. After a half inning, it's Soviet Union nothing, and USA coming to bat. We'll be back.
We really wanted to win the fourth game. Our players were really tight. Feeling in the dugout was a quiet, introspective sort of game face that every player had. They were loose the first three games because they were very confident, but they definitely wanted to win this fourth game.
Stolen base for Dave Stofflet. There's a shot to center field, deep enough to score the run.
That's just the way it's done in America right there.
Dmitry Boyarinov leads off for the Soviets here in the top of the third inning. Scores 1-0, the Americans.
We are a new generation of baseball players. It's a new sport for us. And so thanks to the American coaches helping us, we can only hope that the following generation of baseball players will become strong and competitive.
Well, the bottom of the third inning here as the rains start to fall again. Chris Labresco comes up.
I'd like to meet him.
Oh, tough hop there.
Well, that was a nice effort right there.
Tom Esposito, the batter. The error on Zakharov. Labresco scores, and it's 2-0. Brian Margetich, the batter now. Ooh, a rope to center field. Might have a play at the plate here.
He's got him. He's got him.
Nice play there by the Soviets. Well done. Center fielder Zukov fires it into the cutoff man and got him at the plate.
Nice play by the Russian team there.
The fair ball down the line. That's going to score one. Cox at third base, and Margetich scores. Oh.
Couldn't get it out of his glove. He couldn't get it out of his glove.
It was another nice play, though.
You don't see those two in one inning, but shortstop Utkin could not get the ball out of his glove. He had him dead at third base.
3 runs in this inning. It's 4-0, the Americans.
Okay.
There's a shot to left. That's a base hit. Oh, now they got Cox in a rundown. Now we'll see what happens
Back
here.
to third. He's going to stay. Missed him.
Nope.
Stayed in.
Once again, one of the fundamental parts of the game of baseball that the Russians have to learn is handling the rundown play, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
in fact, we work pretty hard on that rundown play at the big league level in spring training. So.
Well, we're in the top of the 7th inning with the Americans leading 5-0. Jeff Coppolino is now pitching here.
Little mini rally here for the Russians and top of the 7th inning, and then what could be their last at bat. They have 2 base runners.
And a bunt. A nice one. Moves the runners over. Well, now the bases are loaded.
Well, the Russian kids are fired up over here now. They got a little rally going.
Well, the 2-2 pitch. And that's a strike 3, and that will be the end of the ball game.
The last game was really kind of goodbye. The game of winning and losing really didn't matter. It was just seeing them for one last time.
I think the ceremony with the medals was a touching end to a wonderful series. And I was just so happy to be a part of this whole thing. They really do think, though, that we will meet them again. And I really do sincerely hope that that's the truth.
1 year after it all began, it was time for the Soviets to pack up their souvenirs and memories and go home. They came here to play baseball and discovered that the playing field, unlike the battlefield, served as a common ground, a place where friendships were formed and lifelong memories were shared.
It was tough saying goodbye, it really was. Like the saying goes, all good things come to an end.
I will miss them. I like especially some of the people that I've really gotten close to, like Ilya. It definitely affected me. It's changed my idea of the Russians.
Saying goodbye to those people was, it was terrible. The feeling that I had and the other 4 coaches had done was we had created a family that was hard to separate. That's really what made it so special.
It is designed to break your heart. The game begins in the spring when everything else begins again. And it blossoms in the summer, filling the afternoons and evenings, and leaves you to face the fall alone. You count on it, rely on it, to buffer the passage of time, to keep the memory of sunshine and high skies alive. And then just when the days are all twilight, when you need it most, it goes. And summer is gone.
The summer of 1990 is gone. For now, the game is over. And in the end, this history-making experience proved that young people are definitely the same everywhere, and that our all-American pastime has become a symbol of change for the Soviets. We wish them luck in their efforts to field a team for the 1992 Olympics, and leave you with a salute to the young Americans who also learned something special about freedom. For our Comrades at Bat, I'm Mike Schmidt.
America, America, make God thy gold refined, till all success be nobleness, and ever again divine. And you know, when I was in school, we used to sing it something like this. Listen here. Oh, beautiful, far spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties, over the fruited plain. But now wait a minute, I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee. He crowned thy good. Yes, he did. Heavy brotherhood from sea